Today, we're going to take a journey through potentially one of the most transformative experiences of your life. So, what is a spiritual awakening? What is it? Is it blissful? Is it painful? Is it enlightenment? Or is it a breakdown? Why does it happen? When? Who does it happen to? Who has it? Can you do it on demand? And what do you do once you're awake? In a world that seems completely asleep, what do you do once you're awakened? Hi, I'm Robert Christopher. Thanks for joining us. Just thought I'd go over this topic because I was always curious about it. I've had these experiences and just kind of wanted to share them. So today on Conscious Creator, we're going to dive into the complete picture of spiritual awakening, the stages, symptoms, the challenges, breakthroughs, and how awakening transforms your entire relationship with reality. So let's just start from the beginning. What is a spiritual awakening? So, a spiritual awakening, as I see it, is the moment that you begin to see reality, not through conditioning, but through consciousness. It is the realization, I believe, that you're not your thoughts, you're not your ego, you are not your past, you're not your body, you are not separate from other people or others, you are not disconnected from source, and you are consciousness experiencing a human life. Awakening is the collapse of the illusion of separation and the emergence of your true self, authenticity. It is not becoming someone new, but rather it's remembering who you've always been. So, how do you have a spiritual awakening, or who experiences awakenings and why? So, anyone can have a spiritual awakening. Age doesn't matter, anybody can have it. Belief systems don't matter, personality doesn't matter. Awakenings occur for three main reasons. First one is suffering. You've hit rock bottom. You have nowhere else to go. It's time to surrender. So, loss, heartbreak, trauma, depression, emptiness, rock bottom. So, this is when the ego collapses, surrenders, and the soul now breaks through. Number two, a spiritual awakening can happen through success. Achieving everything that you wanted and you still feel empty or unfulfilled, well, success exposes the illusion that the external world can complete you. Number three, a spontaneous opening, like a meditation, nature, a synchronicity, dreams, a mystical experience. Maybe you took some mushrooms, or simply the soul saying it's just time to evolve. So it can be, it's not really random, it's more of an evolution. So, what does a spiritual awakening feels like? And this could be different for everybody, right? Just as from my experience, awakening is a spectrum. It can be euphoric, but it can also be excruciating. The blissful side of it is deep inner peace, expanded love, presence, synchronicities, heightened intuition, all of that stuff, connection to everything, a feeling of remembering, insight, or clarity. The downside to it all, it could be an emotional upheaval or a loss of identity, disorientation, not sure what to do, anxiety or confusion, sensitivity to energy. Your relationships are dissolving. You're feeling kind of like stuck in between spaces or worlds, and the dark night of the soul is approaching. So, awakening is not just light, it is also the purging of everything that kept you asleep. The ego is dying off loudly, and the soul awakens softly. So, from my experience, we'll just think it comes in stages, and we'll just go through the stages of spiritual awakening. People move through these stages in cycles, not in strict order, but the path is universal. So, stage one is usually the trigger or the call. Something breaks the illusion. Next step, stage two, is the ego begins to crack or dissolve. Your old identity begins to dissolve. Stage three, the awakening moment, the flash of truth, clarity, or oneness. And then stage four, the purge or the dark night. Emotions, trauma, beliefs rise in order to be released. Stage five, you need to surrender. You just let go, letting go of control and trusting the process. Stage six would be alignment and expansion. Now, synchronicities, intuition, new purpose, and flow. Stage 7 is now embodiment. Embrace this. Awakening now becomes a lifestyle. You live from awareness, presence, intuition, and truth. These stages repeat as you evolve. Awakening is not a destination, but rather it's a path of continual expansion. So, what are the signs of an awakening? So, you know that you're having an awakening when old interests fall away, intuition starts to become stronger, you feel drawn to truth and authenticity more. Kind of see through the veil, you see synchronicities everywhere. You now become more sensitive to energy, less on matter. You question societal conditioning. Things start to be seen as an illusion. You outgrow unhealthy relationships. You feel called to something higher. There's a bigger purpose going on, and you observe your thoughts instead of believing them. You're now becoming the observer. And the old you now feels too small for who you're becoming. These are all just subtle nudges. So an awakening feels like being pulled into a deeper, truer version of yourself. So one thing I struggled with is how do you function or maintain relationships or your job in the matrix after an awakening or something like that. So once you awaken, the world doesn't change, but you do. So everything does feel different. So here's how to navigate daily life once you see through the illusion. Number one, don't try to wake everybody up. It won't work anyway. But people awaken when they're ready. Some don't. Your job is to embody, not to preach. Number two, become the observer, not the reactor. Traffic, coworkers, ex-wives, gossip, chaos, whatever it is. You start to see them as energy patterns, not personal attacks. This gives you inner space. And inner space equals freedom. Number three, protect your energy. Awakening increases sensitivity. So boundaries now become essential. Not everyone deserves access to your nervous system. You don't need to tell everybody about this. Number four, anchor in presence. You won't be in a Zen state all day or every day, but awakening is not about perfection. It's more about returning to the awareness again and again. Consistency, right? Number five, choose resonance over obligation. You naturally drift away from drama, toxic environments, conditioned behavior, low frequency people in spaces, and you're kind of more aligned with truth, creativity, authenticity, nature, alignment, conscious relationships, things that are real. This isn't coming from a judgment perspective, it's more of a vibrational matchup, I would say. And number six, turn your life into a spiritual practice. So now everything becomes a tool. Become the alchemist. Turn triggers into shadow integration. Turn waiting into breath work. Conversations into presence. Work stress, grounding. Difficult people, have compassion. Practice compassion. It's hard. Awakening now becomes embodied. So what happens after the awakening? Well, an awakening isn't like there's no finish line. It's more of the journey. So the awakening is not the end, but rather it's the beginning of a new phase of your life. So now you begin to live intentionally. You're acting from intuition, choosing alignment over fear. Deep healing starts to happen. You attract new relationships, and you're following more of a purpose or a calling. Purpose becomes big, and you start to create from coherence instead of a survival. The ego really starts to dissolve, and you feel more guided. Start to trust life more. Don't feel as separate or separation. Experience from inner freedom. You move from unconscious reaction to conscious creation. So awakening changes your entire timeline. It is the moment your life stops happening to you and you start to see that it begins happening through you. Big difference there. But awakenings can be powerful. I'm not sure everyone's dealt with that, so I just thought I'd get it out there. Spiritual awakening can be pretty messy, painful, beautiful, overwhelming. It was excruciating for me at times, still kind of is. Liberating. It can be transformational. It's all good, but it's always very, very, very sacred. Awakening is basically your soul calling you home to who you really are. So I feel blessed. And thank you all for watching Conscious Creator. A short little bit of information. And as always, radiate gratitude. And if this message resonated with you at all, like, subscribe, and share it with somebody while walking their path towards spiritual awakening. So thanks again, guys. And until next time, stay conscious, stay courageous, stay weird, and keep creating. Oh, and follow that rabbit.